Hi everyone. Not again, Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review of the new Kid Cudi album, Passion, Pain, and Demon Slayin. Ohio native, rapper, multi-instrumentalist, songwriter, singer, Kid Cudi, a man whose recent musical works, in my opinion, have been some of the biggest blunders of the decade so far. Specifically that Wizard album and that Indie Cud album, and especially Speedin' Bullet to Heaven, Cudi's failed attempt at 90 minutes of Kurt Cobain worship and grunge pastiche. Kid Cudi's last album was so lackluster that this new one could not be anything else but better. It had to be better. It couldn't have been worse. There's no possible way. And thankfully, my presumptions ended up being true. This is a superior album to Speeding Bullet to Heaven, primarily because it's not like on the outset Kid Cudi is reaching for something that is really beyond his grasp. Maybe with the exception of the song Releaser on this album, which just kind of sounds like a bad Portishead revision. But even though on this album Kid Cudi is not failing miserably at something that he's not really all that skilled at, this is still an album that contains many of the same flaws that have plagued a lot of Cudi's recent work. There are songs on this thing that lack any semblance of structure or progression. The instrumentals just kind of are cut and paste. They repeat the same musical phrases and ideas and rhythms again and again and again, as Kid Cudi just kind of directionlessly vocalizes and moans to his heart's content for about 4 minutes or so, like the song Swim in the Light, which basically sounds like one 4-minute long intro that never really progresses into anything else. And there are other cuts on this thing that are similarly similar for nearly every minute that the song spans. Frequency, All In, Mature Nature, and the song Dance for Eternity. Kid Cudi has this bad tendency on this album to stretch like 1:30 or 2 minutes of ideas to 4 or 5 minutes. Then there are the lyrics on this record, which most of the time feign emotional depth, but they're usually as redundant as the song structures and instrumentals that they're plugged into. Cudi even gives off some crazy, creepy, psycho ex-boyfriend vibes on the song Distant Fantasies, although this track may not be as weird as the end of the song The Guide, where you can hear Kid Cudi simulating some sex breathing in the middle of delivering the bars on the final verse of this song. And then there's Kid Cudi's ridiculous humming and singing voice, which for whatever reason recently has become hip to clown, despite the fact that his singing has been excruciatingly subpar for years now. Points on this thing where he sounds goofy are abound, like on tracks such as Wounds, where you can hear him singing dip, 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 dip. And of course there are countless moments on this record where Kid Cudi is blatantly off-key. And of course there are at least several songs on this album where Kid Cudi reaches a new level of corny and lazy when it comes to the choruses on this thing. Like on the song By Design, where of course Kid Cudi has to make some kind of play on words relating to interior design, saying, don't fuck with the feng shui, don't fuck with the feng shui, don't fuck with the feng shui. Then with the song Commander, we might have Kid Cudi's most lyrically anemic hook yet. He just kind of says, no, 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 yeah, yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah. And the song The Kitchen. Not only can I not resist a song that rhymes mission and kitchen, but also just the idea of staying out of the kitchen because this person can't stand the heat of your love. And once again, on a new album, Kid Cudi fails to render the project down to its most essential tracks. This is another 90-minute project, and it didn't need to be. There are clearly subpar tracks in the track listing here. There are clearly duds. He even repeats a few features, despite the fact that one of the two features with Andre 3000 as well as Pharrell clearly outshine the other. Having said all that, this is still an improvement, so let's try to see the silver lining in this cloud, shall we? For one, Passion, Pain, and Demon Slayin sees an uptick in dance grooves for some reason, and these actually play pretty well to Cudi's strengths, his singing and his songwriting style on this record, because if we're gonna get locked into maybe one or two ideas, they might as well be backed up with a danceable beat and a catchy synth phrase, like on the song By Design. Love the groove here, and Andre 3000's many little lyrical moments on this record actually break the song up nicely and give the track some natural structure. The song Surfin' with Pharrell was a track that I loved from the moment Cudi teased toward this album with it. Not only is Cudi's vocal delivery, his performance on this track, way more animated than many of the tracks that preceded it, but I also love the instrumental on this song. The rhythm, as well as the synth horn leads, kind of have an African flair to them, and the verses and choruses on this track are more defined than they are on much of the record. And I love how lavish some of the instrumentals on this album are. The horn sections and strings on the song Rose Golden with Willow Smith are actually pretty nice. These very same string sections turn dramatic on the song Does It, and then the string sections turn so active and nimble and melodically dense on the song Kitchen that it's almost forgivable that the verses on this track are underwritten nonsense and lovers' cliches. And the song Illusions has kind of a weird synth odyssey interlude in the middle of the track, and I love the way that these very steady, patient arpeggios color the background of the back half of the song. So there are moments where it seems like Kid Cudi is making more of an effort to structure his songs a little bit more, add more detail. It's just not most of the time, and I would prefer it to be most of the time. And generally, I would say this album, as far as Kid Cudi's Cudi-isms, it is a tad more tolerable than a lot of his recent material has been. Again, this album is better than Kid Cudi's past few records, but it is still a deeply flawed project in my opinion. And the album gets by mostly, again, on not the production, not the composition, not Kid Cudi's lyrical abilities, not his singing abilities, but really more his cult of personality. But despite all of my criticisms, I will say that I think Kid Cudi is doing a better job of playing to his strengths on this album, at least. Still though, I am feeling a light to decent 4 on this record. Tran. And those are my thoughts on this new Kid Cudi record. Did you love this album? Did you like this album? Did you like it more than me? Let me know. I'm sure you will down in the comments if you're you know, feeling some type of way. You're the best. I believe in you. You're my favorite. Hope you're having a good one. Make sure to click one of the links next to my head, you know, some other videos, subscribe to the channel, official website, and that's it, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Forever.